Customer states the power steering's not working real well. Yeah, I bet it's not. Welcome back to Lucore Automotive Services. Today we're going to tell you why this upper control arm failed and what we're going to do to fix it. We appreciate you watching our shows. If you like what we're doing, click like, subscribe, leave us a comment. We're just a small shop in Central Ohio. We do all sorts of crazy stuff. This car you've actually seen before. We did a engine resurrection on it, and customer's bringing it in for some other issues, and on his way here he's like, man, my steering got all weird. Yeah, it did. So we'll get this thing on the rack and tell you what broke. It's a little floppy. That's not good. You'll understand why this makes me laugh later. Not good at all. Failure. These control arms are very specific in their directions about the fact that they must be used either on a lowered suspension car or with an aftermarket taller knuckle. Now this car has factory knuckles on it and it's running at its factory ride height, so more than likely the failure that occurred to this control arm would not have happened had this car either been running lowered springs or the taller knuckle. What happens is this arm, the rear arm, ends up contacting the frame, and with the taller spindle it gets it up to a range where it won't contact the frame in full motion. It is what it is. This customer likes the ride height where it's at, so these control arms are not going to work for this situation. And honestly, the aftermarket taller spindles are a good option, but since his upper control arms are broken, that one's broken, this one's actually got a bend in the ball joint plate. So we're going to put some new tubular, fully welded tubular arms on it. They'll give us better geometry for caster and camber, and then we can just keep moving forward. Oh, we got loose because he's stuck. So you can see this is actually bound against the control arm, or the control arm is bound against the frame right now, which is why it won't come apart. We may have to do this closer to the ground. That'd be my luck being 2020, Friday the 13th, that I drop this car off the rack. Because that's the kind of luck I have. That'll do it. So you can see it's just got a really small amount of metal that hold these pieces in place. And that's where it fractured on the other one right there. But you can also see where it's been hitting against the frame. So every time that suspension droops, it hits this and it's going to weaken these pieces, and then they're going to fail like it did on the other side. So these are actually a pretty nice piece. They're really nice and adjustable for setting stuff up for the track and whatever. You know, these are SPCs. But unless you are running lowered springs or a taller knuckle, you don't want to buy these. You've been warned. So these are our brand new fully welded tubular control arms. They should work pretty well for our use, especially since we're mostly street. This thing's pretty much just a cruiser. It does have adjustable slugs in it, which allow me to get a lot more caster into it. And I will set those up so that it pushes the control arm as far back as I can get it, which is the way it's set up right now. So these guys can come out, you can switch them around, move the control arm forward or back. So then we will install these into the car, put it all back together. Oh hey, there's the, oh, gravity. So there, I don't know if that'll focus or not. Will it focus? Probably not. So that's the piece that broke off. I'll just keep throwing it on the ground for safekeeping. Now somebody replaced these upper control arm bolts with standard grade 8 shank bolts, which makes it a pain for your alignment guy because the normal bolts that come in these have knurls on them to hold this bolt to keep it from spinning. And when you just put a bolt in it, it makes it harder to do the alignment. It's not that big of a deal, it's just annoying. You're going to set your nuts down on top. Make sure you put them in a place where you can reach them. So my control arms are in, my joints are greased up. I'm going to put my wheels on, drop it down, tighten my upper control bolts. I will figure out my bump stops once it's over on the alignment rack, because I may have to get shorter bump stops to make it work for the way this car is set up. And then it gets in alignment, and that'll be that. Better control arms for this application. So at the beginning of this video, I started this car up and it sounded horribly. If you noticed that, then you've got good ears. Well, the problem was my Bendix in the starter was not catching correctly. So we got a warranty starter. We're gonna stick that thing up in here, and then hopefully it won't make horrendous noises when we start this thing. So let me put a couple bolts and a couple wires on, and we'll get this thing put back together. Take it out, make sure the steering wheel's straight after the alignment, and this car will be ready to roll. Once again. Time for a test drive. Make sure I did my job correctly. So I wrapped up the new upper control arms on the 68 Camaro. The new control arms work really well. They're more of a welded design than a turnbuckle design. I think they'll work really well for the customer's daily driver duties that this car is really being used for. We also changed the starter out. It's actually the third starter we've installed on that since we installed the crate motor. So I'm not really sure what my review will be about the starters on that kit, but everything else on that kit has been wonderful so far. That starter did come with the GM Performance crate motor as part of that package. Thing steers, drives, handles really nicely. I set the suspension up for modern tires, modern suspension, modern caster camber, and it really changes the dynamic of a car when you get a lot more caster and some little bit of negative camber put into those cars. They work really well with that. So again, thanks for watching. We appreciate you coming along for the ride on some of these cars we work on. Remember to click like, subscribe, leave us a comment. We love to hear from you guys. At any rate, you guys have a great day. Stay safe out there, or go get into your garage and work on the project that you have that's sitting there not getting done because you're sitting here watching TV. At any rate, you guys have a great day. We'll see you later.